Hi Lana, welcome once again to Lana's Coach. So I've received a lot of questions regarding the higher education new funding model. So if you're a student in Kenya, or maybe an international student who wants to pursue some courses in Kenya, it's very, very important to understand this particular funding model, because we are moving away from the old traditional way of funding to the new funding model that is very important for you to understand as a student. Now, I took some time to write everything within this particular article, so I'll share it within the description so that at least you can read along. But I just want us to maybe highlight what this particular funding model is all about. So this new funding model, it aims to address challenges that were encountered by public universities and technical or TVET institutions due to massive enrollment and inadequate funding. So as I mentioned, it replaces the old way of funding, that is differentiated unit cost, right, that were being dispersed or used in universities, right? So ideally, just to narrow down to exactly what people want to understand is how it works, right? How does it work, right? So this is a government funding that is student-centered, is based on the level of need and program cost. So unlike the previous way, this one looks at maybe those students who are needy, right? So it takes you through maybe the portal where you can always maybe request for this particular kind of loans, right? So in my previous video, I had shown you how to do this particular kind of application to the funds, right? So students placed in public universities by the Kenyan universities, that is COOPs and TVET, within the Ministry of Education, can always borrow these particular loans through the new funding model. Now let's understand what it is. So what do we mean by testing instrument, right? So it is a scientific method used to determine the student's level of financial need by using proxy indicators. So that's why sometimes you might ask yourself, how comes my neighbor or my friend, they have been given the loan very fast, or they requested for this amount of loan and they were given, and me, I was not given that equivalent amount of loan. So what they normally do or use within the new funding model is this testing instrument known as MTI. Now another question that maybe you'll want to ask about this new funding model, who is eligible, right? So university students who sat for KCSE in 2022 and 2023, and TVET trainees admitted from September 2023. So anything above or below this, like 2021, you are not actually going to be given this, or you are not going to be part of this new funding model. So you just need to do the kind of application manually, or rather using the old way. But if you're a student who sat for KCSE from 2022, 2023, and of course we are in 2024 onwards, then you are eligible for the what? A new funding model. So when can the student start applying? There's another question you need to understand about this funding model. So all eligible students can apply when the higher education financing student portal is open for application. So as long as you keep on checking, as long as it is open, you will always go and apply, and they always communicate. Now, the other question that you need to understand, or what you need to understand about this funding model, is how much will I receive for my education upon making an application, right? So you remember I talked about the MIT, right? That testing instrument. So the amount of funding in scholarship or loan depends on the assessed student's level of need and the program cost. So you should be aware of that. So is there an upkeep component in this new funding model? Yes, students placed by COOPs in public universities and TVET institutions under the Ministry of Education are eligible for upkeep consideration. So I think also that one I've answered for those people who wanted to understand. Now there's another question here. when should I expect to receive my disbursements? Because this is another question that people normally ask. So scholarship and loan disbursements are processed at the beginning of the semester, subject to confirmations by the what? Universities and TVET institutions. So tuition is disbursed to the various institutions, while upkeep is paid to the student's personal account. This is normally done during application process. So how do I track my scholarship and loan application? I mean, this, if you check on our previous videos, I've already mentioned how you can do the application. So you just need to go to the this particular higher education finance, or rather HEF, and you're going to go to the student portal. Then you are going to do your tracking when you are applying for this particular loan. So the other question that most of you are asking, does the new funding model have a provision for appealing? Yes, the HEF portal has a provision for online scholarship and loan review application. Then the other question is, can I seek alright, sorry for that. Now, can I seek additional funding if my financial situation changes? Yes, an affected student can fill an online funds appeal form. A review is subject to availability of what? Of funds. Now, there's this other question. I sat for KCSE before December 2022. Am I eligible for the funding? Right? So yes, all continuing students shall be funded as per the previously existing funding model. I hope that is now clear, but not the new funding model. So if you start your KCP before December 2022, you can still use the previously existing funding model. So I believe those questions actually settle some of your doubts, or rather whatever what you wanted to understand about this new funding model. Maybe you can look at 2 or 3 other questions. So if placed in a university or TVET college, will I automatically benefit from both government scholarship and loan? Of course, automatically no. Students are expected to apply annually for consideration when the applications are open and can access the funding to a limit of one's course duration. So is the application mandatory? No. I mean, if you can be able to sort your financial needs, why should you go for it? So someone is asking, I'm below 18 years, am I eligible for HELB loan? Yes, minor underage applicants can use their KCSE index number to assess the application and update their records during the application. And of course, the applicants are also required to open their own bank accounts for upkeep payments where applicable, right? The bank account should be registered and fully operated by the student. The other one that I'm actually going through the questions that people have been asking. So if I miss to apply for the funding in my first year, can I apply for this? Yes, there's the subsequent year funding, so you just need to use that, right? Of course, we have the new funding model offers 2 options: the first time application and subsequent application. Will I still benefit from the new model if I transfer from one university? I mean, yes. However, the transfers must be validated by COOPs, and the student is required to inform the funding institutions of the changes to enable them update records. The other one is, I have a sibling enrolled in one of the universities and currently benefiting from government funding. Am I eligible for funding? Yes, each student, I mean, even if you are twins, you can always make your own application, right, which are going to be assessed individually. I understand that HELB has partnered with several organizations, like in the counties. Do I still qualify for the new funding model? Yes. This is just like a top-up. You can get some funding from the CDF and others, but that doesn't stop you from applying, right? So who do I contact if I need clarification or questions? You need just to check on the HEF website or the HELB. They'll always reply to your needs. What happens to my funding if I defer my studies? Deferments shall be done through universities and TVET institutions and reported to the funding agency. Then can I seek for second and we have already mentioned this, right? So second applications are done annually whenever the next application window is open. Now, so my good students or aspiring candidates who wants to join the tertiary institutions, I hope now I've answered most of these questions regarding the new funding or the new funding model within our institutions. So should you find this information useful, kindly like the video, and of course don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more information. All right, thanks.